It ain't even tea time.
Oh, hey, Alex, I see your question. Ebony, she's someone who I would love to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I see she's getting better,
Okay.
and they
Hold
changed.
on. The blonde bomber. So you
Yeah,
want
the
to fight the
blonde
blonde?
bomber.
Okay, good. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
I like, you know what I'm saying? I like her and how she promotes herself. Hey, man, I had her to be Shannon, so I was just like, yeah. And I want a shot at the belt next.
Skinny Hardaway, Southern T, and I'm back. And today I'm here with some interesting news. I myself personally, I had, Sha'Metcalf, aka ShaMetcalf, who is the ABO Women's Super Bantamweight Champion. I had her, she was a guest on my Southern T a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to put the link in the description. So if you want to check the interview out, and I think you should, because it's a really cool interview. I had a lot of fun doing the interview. If you want to check the interview out, I'm going to stick the link to the interview in the description. And in this interview with ShaMetcalf, um, Ebony Bridges, I was about to call her the blonde bomber, but I'm going to call her by her real name first. And then, I'm going to start calling her by her nickname, which is what most people know her by. Ebony Bridges, the blonde bomber, name came up. And ShaMetcalf, expressed interest in a fight with the blonde bomber. She stated that, the blonde bomber was an undefeated fighter, at first, but the blonde bomber took a loss in a championship fight versus Shannon Courtney. But ShaMetcalf in this interview, she stated that she would like a fight with the blonde bomber. Blonde bomber has since then got back on the winning track. She came out on the winning track in her previous fight, which was about 2 weeks ago. Which was her previous fight, which was about 2 weeks ago. It was the same week that I had this interview with ShaMetcalf. Again, the original interview with ShaMetcalf will be in the interview. And this, I took out clips and pieces from our interview for this video purposes. But ShaMetcalf is one of many women who has been calling out the blonde bomber lately. Blonde bomber is one of the more popular women in women's boxing. ShaMetcalf is, one of those women who is on the rise. She's an up and coming star in the sport of women's boxing. And let me give you these women's profile really quick. Really quick. You got Ebony the Blonde Bomber Bridges. She's 6-1 with 3 KOs. She stands at 5-1, and her last win came against Beck Conley. Her her loss came against Shannon Courtney, and she's on the 5. And before they lost to Shannon Courtney, she was on a 5-fight win streak. But like I stated earlier, she bounced back with a win against Beck Conley. And then you have Sha'Metcalf. She's 9-3-1 with 2 KOs. She's 5-7. Her last win was against Britain Hart, and she hasn't lost a fight in her last 8 fights. So on the surface, you may hear 9-3-1, and you think what? But if you look a little deeper, ShaMetcalf was a woman who started boxing later in her career. And if you watch the interview, which I'm going to have in the description box, and I think you should check it out. ShaMetcalf herself, told you her story. She told you that she got into boxing late. She told you that she was basically, a barroom club fighter, literally. Some people be like, that's a club fighter. He a barroom fighter. ShaMetcalf was actually that. She was a barroom fighter, and she grew to boxing, and now she's going into boxing full time. Little history lesson. Yes, when I said her record at 9-3-1, but what a lot of people don't know is that she lost 3 out of her first 5 fights early in her career because she started boxing late before she was really, dedicated to the sport, and she was very fresh in the sport. She was a novice in the sport. It was early in her career when she took those losses. Again, like I stated, she's on the 8-fight winning streak. So the lady that she was in her first 5 fights isn't the lady, that she is now. She's won 8 fights in a row. You know what I mean? And her record stands at 9-3-1. If I'm not mistaken, I think she lost her debut, and then she won a fight, and then I think she lost 2 fights, and I don't think that she has lost since then. So this woman ShaMetcalf is showing drastic improvement, and I said all that to say for the people who want to say, oh, Blonde Bomber doesn't have to fight her, she's not on Blonde Bomber level. When you really dig deep into it, she really is more experienced than the Blonde Bomber. The Blonde Bomber has had 7 total fights. ShaMetcalf has had 13 total fights. You know what I mean? So she's had as many fights as the Blonde Bomber has had. She's almost doubled the fights. She has doubled the fights that the Blonde Bomber has had. She's one number off. Blonde Bomber has 7. ShaMetcalf had 13. So she's almost doubled the fights that the Blonde Bomber has had. And then the Blonde Bomber is not a woman who is, even herself, she's not fighting, the highest of the competition in herself either. ShaMetcalf is, I think leaps and bounds better than the women that the Blonde Bomber has been fighting up until this point. So I don't see why a fight with, ShaMetcalf would be out of the realm of what, the Blonde Bomber is already doing. I think more so it'll be along the lines of Shannon Courtney rather than, any other fight that the Blonde Bomber has had. I think a fight between ShaMetcalf and the Blonde Bomber would be very interesting. Blonde Bomber has fans, and ShaMetcalf has fans in Dallas, Texas, where she's from. I just seen her, out. I just seen her out in the event. She was taking pictures, with the people. She was at the event with Malik Hooker. I think that was the Victor Ortiz fight. All those Texas fighters, have a solid base in Texas. Most of those Texas guys could, fight in Texas and put on great shows. The Blonde Bomber has, a pretty good fan base. And even in the interview, ShaMetcalf spoke on, women's boxing and how they're trying to help the sport grow, and how this fight will most definitely help the sport grow and bring attention to it, because it sets up to be a very exciting fight, bringing in a fighter like ShaMetcalf and bringing in a fighter like the Blonde Bomber. You're bound to get, a great fight. The Blonde Bomber showed hard in her fight against Shannon Courtney. She had a really, really serious eye injury, and if you don't know that, I'm here to tell you, ShaMetcalf, always brings it in her fights. As I told you again, she hasn't lost in 8 fights. She hasn't took a loss in 8 fights, and she stands at 9-3. So you could do the math on it. But ShaMetcalf, this came out her mouth. This is not something that Sudden T is saying. I dropped a video for you earlier. You could do, you could take the time to look at it. You could think what you will about the situation. But I personally think that, that it's a hell of a fight. I think they're about evenly matched, especially if you're going off rank. The Blonde Bomber has been given a title shot opportunity in which she's failed. ShaMetcalf is currently the ABO world champion. It's not a major championship, but she is a champion. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna put the link in the description. If I'm not mistaken, she said that before all the COVID outbreak, she was going to have a fight, for the belt that gave her the mandatory title shot. So her next fight is going to be, for the belt that gives you a mandatory title shot at the next major belt. So this fight between her and the Blonde Bomber between her and the Blonde Bomber isn't really a far-fetched thing. This really is a plausible thing, and I'm highly excited about it. It was a privilege and an honor to have ShaMetcalf onto my show. I am familiar with the Blonde Bomber and her work. I did watch her last fight and her fight before that against Shannon, and I think the fight between her and ShaMetcalf would be a great fight, and I think it'll be something that the people could get behind and around, you know what I mean? But Skinny Hardaway, Southern T, that's all I got. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Look.